I've done a thing, and again, every now and again, and it seems to be accelerating, I do something or find something that is new, that it can be added to the archaeological record. And I'm probably, I can't see it from on the ground, but I'm probably on stood right on one of two ring ditches that are just outside Stratford Tony church. And one of the Saxon charters for this area ends its perambulation by coming to a down by the river to a barrow called Lowland. And I think Lowland is one of these two barrows here that have been ploughed out of existence. Hasn't been noticed before because the antiquarians and archaeologists of the 20th century didn't have LiDAR and they didn't have satellite photographs.
If it isn't one of these two barrows, it is certainly a member of this round barrow cemetery. Others may have been ploughed out or buried underneath houses. The current parish boundary heads south from here and is very, very close. It's just a few yards away. This is why this is a very good candidate for Lowland. Lowland means either Luder, a person called Luder, their barrow, or the barrow of playing, as in playing games. The Saxon charter, the Saxon estate, the southern boundary was along the Ebble and didn't go south as the current boundary does. But it doesn't mention the Ebble going back to the beginning, that being implied very often where there is a cast iron boundary, that is an ancient hedge or wall or road, or in this case a river. It is just implied rather than mentioned.
So us YouTube antiquarians can add to the archaeological record by going out in the field, referring to the records of the past and adding information from LiDAR and satellite photographs. So here I am. Now it seems quite strange coming to the conclusion of a video, coming to the success, the glory of achieving something right at the beginning of a video. And the reason for that is because that's not what we're here for, as glorious as it is to add to the heritage environmental record. I'm hoping somebody from them is watching this, will update it. There is more to come. There is a Roman road, a Herepaðs, that is an army path, a Saxon army path, and a Hricgweg, a ridgeway. Whenever you see a wood called hare something on top of a hill, in this case it's hare warren. How many hares make a warren, do you think? You should think to yourself whether or not you're looking at a Herepaðs, which is Anglo-Saxon, Old English for army road. It's a national government road, and but over 1,000 years old, and it is one. It is named in a couple of Saxon charters in this area as Herepaðs, and it has that typology of being high up. The Saxon army paths were either high up all along their length or on the way up a hill. So it may have come into more colloquial usage as highway. Well, you know, it does become highway, but even the Anglo-Saxons were probably thinking, when they heard the word army path, heard high road, as in high up. And this is what we've got here. And I'm quite excited about it. It's because there's a number of charters that talk about a Roman road over there that goes down to Stratford Tony, and that's where I've just been. And obviously Stratford got its name because it is a ford on a Roman road, a Stræt. And after all that soul searching I've been doing recently, there was one factor I hadn't taken into consideration, and that is all the Stratfords and Stratons there are in England that are 95% of the time next to a great big stonking straight as a die Roman road. So there's the word Stræt. The Saxon word Stræt definitely means Roman road. So so you don't get Stratfords on Herepaðs, certainly not Herepaðs that aren't also Roman roads. You can get Herepaðs on Roman roads. So it's that Venn diagram I drew the other day on my Simon Roper beige slide section on the last video. You should just be able to see a mound of brambles behind me. That mound of brambles is Neat's Barrow in our quite beautiful hare warren, and it's probably I'll explain why probably in a minute. It's probably the berg in the charter. I found another barrow. It's only about 100 yards from here. It's probably a barrow. It might just be a mound of earth, but that could be the berg as well. But it is nobody would have built a barrow in woodland, and so this wood would not have been around. I'm also looking for contiguous with this entry in the charter is a reference to hearth, which is modern day heath. So I'm looking for heath plants. Obviously you won't find them in a wood, but what I have found is the soil is chalky. So if it's chalk, it can't be heath, because heath is 95% of the time acidic, and chalk is the opposite. But you can see why. I mean, it's disappointing to see a barrow that's just completely covered in brambles. There are no other brambles. Well, there's a little bit. The rest of it is made up of woodlands and some reeds. But you can see what's happened. You can see there is no forest canopy above it. It's a clearing. Now, that is not an ancient clearing. That is the needs of the heritage industry to preserve that barrow. They've chopped down the trees, so the trees don't put down massive roots disturbing what's in there and then falling over and disturbing even more. So that has created a clearing which is allowed the understory to erupt all over it, and brambles have reached the point where they're in charge. Now, in an ecological system, those brambles would protect young saplings from being eaten by deer. Then those saplings will turn into trees and the forest will reassert itself. That's the natural state of England, is forest. Not all countries are the same. but that is. But I presume every time those saplings get big, the heritage people cut them down, or the people on their behalf. But I wanted to point it out to you because A, it's about the history, the 2,000 year old history of this area, and B, I thought it'd be some good footage for my video, but I'm wrong about that. So there's ditches running past it, and who knows how the age of the ditch is. Who knows the age of the barrow? But the reason why I think it might be a barrow is because one of the charters talks about the Thrail Bergas, so that's 3 barrows.
I'm miles out. This is Neil's barrow over here, and this are the three Bergas.
This could be one. Neil's barrow might be the other, but there may be another one somewhere around here. But winter is a good time for barrow hunting. You can see much more. But yes, interesting. I just thought I'd point it out because it is another piece of evidence that this might be included in what the charter has to say. It's because the charter boundary goes down that valley over there, which Manadanu, something like that. Well, it means mean valley, and not mean as in not very nice, mean as in common. And that valley was held in common. It may have been held in common by the peasants of the estates. It may be held in common between 2 estates. So it's a little for my communist viewers. There's a little piece of medieval communism for you. They had no need to divide it up, no need to take it under one or other of the parish's estates. They just they held it in common. So what you've got over there is Groveley Wood, which is a royal forest. It used to be a royal forest. So all of that would have been much more heavily wooded. They needed the vert to make sure the deer were in good health, were able to breed well and have a good environment. And deer came before human beings in that area. And I wanted to mention it because it is really important around here. It is. I've done a number of. There's a number of Saxon charters over there as well. I've done a number of videos. There's a Puntistan in there I really would like to go and find sometime. I'll go back there soon, I think. I want to find that stone. I've looked already twice, I think. But Groveley is considered to be the Lee of the Grove. And it probably isn't. Now, there are really annoying commentators on the internet who like to tell you everything you know is wrong and this is the truth. And that's not my aim. Though it might appear that I am one of them, what I'm trying to say to you is that the English language, we're quite lazy, and we slide words together and drop syllables and all sorts of stuff. And its meaning has changed. It's probably Gravenlayer. Now you might be saying to yourself, "Oh, I've done my old English wrong. Grava means wood, a grove, but it can also mean something that's engraved." And also our modern English word grave is something that you dig. you engrave a grave is an engraving of the land. It's a scooping out, and that has a significant piece of scooping called Grimsditch, the Grimsditch, and that there are many Grimsditches in Britain, and they're very enigmatic, all of them. I think they're Roman estate boundaries. There may even be Iron Age estate boundaries. There must have been sufficient state power to get the peasants to do something useless like dig a ditch when they wanted to be doing things like filling their own bellies, drinking beer and making babies. So there had to be enough state control to do it. This is why I think it's even the very earliest is the Iron Age. But it's you may infuse people with religious fervour, but not to build something that took thousands of man hours, possibly even millions of man hours. Now there's a Grimsditch runs right the way across the top of it, and a Roman road, and just along that hill there is the ox drove. Tweedy's done a video of that, and that leads to Wilton, and the reason I think it goes along the edge of that hill there instead of across the top like the Roman road is because it's royal forest by the time the ox drove is made. People had to go around the king's. They didn't want to mess with the king's verderers because they were bastards. But it's plus Wilton had become more important than Salisbury by the Middle Ages. So your roads need to go where it is that you're going. So you go along the high bit, then you get near to the town you're going, then you head downhill. I think that's what you've got. But it's a very interesting area. That's not the only Grimsditch in this valley. We're on the watershed of a valley here on a ridge. There's a valley down there. It's the Nadder, the Nadder today, Nadder in Old English. Where I was over the other side, at the beginning of this video, I was on the Eblesburnan, or in one of the charters, Eblesburnan, Ibblesburn. And if you go up the hill on the other side, you'll come to another Grimsditch, and that is mentioned in the charters on the other side. So you've got Grimsditch over there and a Grimsditch over here. So you have an estate, a massive estate that covers two valleys. And that's also in the tithe map of Stratford Tony, and it's called Grimes Ditch, a field over there. So these things, the tradition of these things, it probably wasn't just antiquarians and the ancients making this stuff up. It's in the agricultural history, the local farming history of the place. I'm on the edge of the ridge here, so it starts to go down there, and it's pretty much flat on this side. So we're on the edge, and this is Hricgweg, the ridge of the stone. I'm about to go and have a look at it. Look for that stone now, if I can find it. Very poor hit rate finding anglo-saxon stones, but we'll give it another shot. We'll give it a shot. We're coming to the edge of the woodland now. I couldn't find the stone, Bearnulf's stone. Unfortunately, it would have been nice because I went from public land, the old forestry commission land, to private land, and just as I wanted to head off piste. If there are any local people who know, I think it's where the three parishes join up in a sort of a Y shape. There should be a stone at that point. If you're local, please give me a message. Let me know if you've seen a stone there. That'll be Bearnulf's stone there. Anyway, the forest is coming to an end, and we're into downland. I'm quite excited about it, but it's going to be more blowy. It's much more sheltered in the woodland. But anyway, we're going to have a look at some barrows and then have a look at the Herepaðs and the ridgeway.
There are two Herepaðs here, one that runs across the ridge for miles. There's also called a Hricgweg, a classic ridgeway, runs for miles across the top of the ridge. But there's a second one that one of the charters describes as shooting down to a barrow. And this, so we have the two sort of descriptors for Herepaðs, going along a ridge and going up to high land, in my experience from my studies of charters. Crossing it, we've got the Roman street, the Roman road, and we've got a web of interesting roads that lead to Salisbury and Wilton. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please watch this one next. I hope you enjoy that one too. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the next one. Ta-ra for now.